because you already have pretty much everything. You probably have your purveyors and things where you could work with and add the machinery that you need. Just to a little bit more of organization, let's say.
And what did you say was the estimated cost of construction for your store?
$79,000. Yeah, that's 79,000. That's correct. That's all.
Thank you.
Thank you folks for your time.
You win the prize for the longest team name.
Right. Don't win something.
Yeah. Yep.
I'll be kind of keeping track of the time on the 12 minutes, the one, of 2 minutes, the one with the 40%.
Gotcha.
So we'll go away and phone on the phone will go off.
Don't stop it when he says. Keep it going. Sounds good. Do we,
Ready to go?
start?
Yeah.
All right, how's everybody doing? We are team Nana Nana Boo Boo, we're better than you. We're presenting our target strategic analysis presentation. I am team leader Chris Vega,
I'm Brittany Johnson.
I'm John Stockbridge.
Rafael Campos.
and now we're going to get started off with the executive summary. Now, the executive summary, this presentation will look at Target's mission, vision, and strategy, which is an integrated one, analyzing Target both inside and out, identifying the major problems and also their competitive advantage, as well as providing a strategic recommendation, which will be remodeling Target's current cafe, which will go in more depth, and we're going to follow out with the summary and the fallout.
Chris, can I interrupt you for just 1 second, please?
Yeah.
May I speak from over there?
Uh,
It's perfectly okay if you do. All I'm suggesting, please, if you could take one of those microphones and move it closer to you.
Oh, sure.
Thank you. Sorry to interrupt you.
No, it's fine. I'd rather be heard. Now, Brittany's going to go ahead and take it over for part one, vision, mission, and strategy.
All right, thank you, Chris. We all know Target's motto, expect more, pay less, but this isn't just a motto for Target, it's a promise. And it's one that they consistently live up to with exceptional customer service, quality design, innovation, and value. These factors combined with their quality but low price goods is what gives them their integrated strategy and gives them one of the top leadership positions in this industry. Now I'm going to go over to Raphael with 4-6-5.
Thank you, Brittany. As you can see here, we have 5 forces. I'll quickly just run through the 5 forces. First one is threat of substitute, which is high. Threat of new entrants, also high. Competitors' intensity, high. And both powers of suppliers and powers of buyers are low. The 2 key factors in these 5 forces that our team was able to come up with is threat of substitute. Consumers who are seeking a unique product or greater service, if they don't find their target, they'll simply go elsewhere. Then that ties in with the competitive intensity. Target competes with online stores, drugstores, retail stores all the time. So overall, the industry that Target is in is not one that's not very appealing for new companies to join, but since Target's already in, our idea to renovate Cafe Fresh will increase Target's market share. And I'll pass it on to Chris, who will talk about perplexing pesto.
So here we have a perplexing pestle, and the first factor is political. There was an incident back in 2010 for donating some money to a GOP candidate that was against gay marriage. Another factor is an economic, which is obviously the 2008 recession. Then we have the socio-cultural factor, which is the target market, which is married moms making about $35,000 to $75,000 per year and live in the South. And then you have the technological factor, which Target was actually ranked number 10 as the most innovative company by Fast Company for their city target. and also Target's been known to be very social media savvy. Then you have the environmental factor. Target did decide to get more focused on this factor after an incident with some goods in China, which did contain lead. And then you have the legal factor, which again is small like political, but also had a lawsuit in 2006 for not making their website accessible for the blind. Now we're going to go ahead and pass it over to John, who's going to do Smarty Pants SWOT.
Thank you, Chris. When you're looking at smart SWOT analysis, the main thing you're trying to decide or determine is whether Target is internally strong, as well as how they respond to external stimulus. Here we have the internal factor evaluation matrix, and it shows us that Target's greatest strengths lie in its ability to differentiate itself from its competitors, provide a great shopping experience, as well as employ a very advanced, efficient supply chain in order to keep the costs down. And their weaknesses are mainly ones of market presence. It is a very large company that has, until this year, been confined to the United States. And inside of the United States, it has been confined mainly to its five big states. Overall, we have a weighted score of 2.95, indicating that Target is internally strong. Moving to the external factors, we can see that Target's greatest opportunities for growth come in the area of shoring up these weaknesses I just talked about, with expansion, like Canada this year, other countries hopefully later, and reacting to consumer trends in order to increase its presence in the United States. The threats Target face come from, as Raphael was talking about, the very competitive industry it operates in. There are a lot of other stores that can take market share, and there's always the threat of vendor failure for each store. Overall, we have a total weighted score of 2.64, indicating that Target is posed to respond to stimulus. I'm going to pass it back over to Raphael.
Thank you, John. I want to talk about the Tactical Cluster Atlas, which is our strategic group map. There's three key important matrix in this map. As you can see on the y-axis, we have price, axis, we have the product line breadth, and the size of the bubble is the market share. The mobility line simply entails if any company wants to become a leader in this industry, they have two choices: increase the product line, which requires a lot of resources and capital, or increase their price. If you increase your price too much, you're going to be outside of this map. You'll no longer be in the industry. Target has a 17.33% of the market share, which is $22,733,000 of gross profit. That is 3 times as large as the combined next 4 competitors in our map. I'll pass it back to Brittany, who will do competitive strategy and major problems.
All right, thank you, Raphael. As I said before, Target's competitive strategy is an integrated strategy which combines their differentiated shopping experience with their low prices and operational efficiency. These things are what allow Target to make above industry average annual sales, reaching $73.3 billion in 2012, as well as above industry average gross profit margin of 30.38% in 2012. Like I said before, their differentiated shopping experience, as well as their quality design and innovation, is what gives Target the sustainable competitive advantage that you see here. These things are all valuable, rare, costly to imitate, and they're organized to capture value. Some of the major problems we currently see with Target is expansion domestically and internationally, which can be solved with more capital and resources. In order to be successful with their international expansion, Target's current and new programs need to align with their vision and their integrated strategy. Our strategic recommendation aligns with Target's vision of wellness and can provide the capital necessary to solve these problems. So I'm going to turn it over to Chris with our recommendation.
Thank you, Brittany. Now we're going to talk about the meat of the presentation, which is our recommendation. It's a clean, green, money-making machine. We call it Cafe Fresh. Now I'm going to go a little bit into more detail about what Cafe Fresh was. It's an architectural innovation, meaning that it's a new technology in a current market. And Cafe Fresh, what it is, it's basically in between Target's Cafe Bon Appetit, which is located near Target's HQ, and Target's current cafe. And Cafe Fresh will replace the current cafe, and it'll introduce new food items such as salads, fruit salads, greens, and smoothies and sandwiches. Now the feel of it will be very similar to Panera and Crispers. They'll also have what's called Make a Meal brochures that highlights meals that can be made within the groceries at Target. They'll also work with local schools to set up a nutrition education program, allowing the students to develop early eating habits very early. Now that's great, but is it profitable? Is it justifiable? Is it even successful? Well, John's going to go ahead with some numbers and prove that it is.
Starting off with the financial analysis for Cafe Fresh, we looked at the costs it would take to implement it. We looked at 3 main points. The first is the cost to renovate. For this, we took a flat dollar per square foot amount and an approximate square foot size for each store and came up with around $20,000 per store to renovate. And across all 1,700 stores, it comes out to around $35 million. And for the big 5 states, it comes out somewhere around $14 million. The next cost to look at is the cost of goods, or the food items you're going to be selling to your customers. To determine these costs, we looked at the relevant competitors that we would like to emulate and came up with competitive, comparable prices. The last cost is the cost of your direct labor, which comes out to about $92,000 per year per store to pay all your employees. Now I'm going to pass it over to Raphael to talk about the profits.
Thank you. And as John mentioned, he quickly talked about some of the costs associated with Cafe Fresh. I'm going to look a little bit more into the revenue side. The average profit per item is, as we calculated, comes out to $3.14. We estimate that each Cafe Fresh is going to have roughly 200 transactions per day. That comes out to 45 cents profit per transaction. That's after the cost that John talked about, such as cost of labors and cost of goods. Overall, each store is going to have an estimated net profit of $28,125. Cafe Fresh will increase Target's projected net income over the next 5 years by 7.16% on average. This forecast was given to us by our CFO, Paul Gregg, here at ASI. This chart here is a perfect picture of what Cafe Fresh can do to Target's net income. The green line simply shows Target's projected net income over the next 5 years, and the gray line shows Target's net income with Cafe Fresh. As you can see, by 2018, that's where our 7.16% comes in of growth additional to projected net income from Target. I'll pass it on back to Brittany, who will do the fallout of our presentation.
All right, a few potential problems that our team recognized when implementing Cafe Fresh. The first being brand confusion. Customers may not see Target as a place to eat healthy lunch. So we hope to overcome that with an increase in marketing, not only for Cafe Fresh, but also for Target's vision toward wellness. We also recognize that some of the smaller Target stores may not be able to build an entire Cafe Fresh in the store. For those, we want to implement a smaller Cafe Fresh food stand that would still offer healthy lunch options, but just a smaller variety. As for existing relationships with licensed stores such as Starbucks and Pizza Hut, we recommend that Target approach these stores with the idea of Cafe Fresh to maintain, open communication and kind of gauge their reaction on how they feel about renovating the cafe. We do hope to keep these stores in the cafe alongside of Cafe Fresh, just to give the Target's customers a variety of options for their lunch. And now back to Chris with a summary of our recommendation.
Thank you, Brittany. Now we're going to go with the summary of the recommendation. So given the circumstances and the assumptions, Cafe Fresh store will allow Target to build a good foundation for growth in their wellness category. This plan is for 5 years and to provide Target with a 7% increase of Target's food department net income that can be used for future projects or changes to this recommendation. Now, net income can also help their major problem of expanding nationally and globally. And that's all that we have. We are Team Nana Nana Boo Boo. We want to thank you for your time, and if there's any questions, please, we can take them now.
So first and foremost, so are you planning to implement this in every single store?
So right here is a chart. Actually, we're going to do the big top 5 stores first, and top 5 states, excuse me. So 39% of stores will be renovated by 2014, and at the end of 2014, we hope to have the remaining 61% of stores renovated.
The number that you gave, I don't know if that was for just the top 5 states.
For the renovation?
That was for all of the
For all 1,700 stores, the renovation is about $35 million approximate, but for the top 39%, it's right around $14 million, I believe.
Okay.
And the financial analysis, something might be quite get on
This one?
Yeah, what's the average profit per item?
I think that's supposed to be average price
It's-
per item.
Average price per item is $3.14.
That's about 45 cents profit per.
Yeah.
This is more like sales price average, and this is gross profit, sales at minus cost of goods minus cost of
Which
labor.
is 1.42.
Yeah, I think that first one was supposed to be price.
Well, I would say this increase in grammar person, and on your chart, you have your company as Morehouse as opposed to Marshall.
Oh,
Look at that.
we were actually updating that today, and Yeah, yeah.
Um,
No, no. We were afraid that you guys weren't going to be able
Oh.
to see.
Wow.
And then you said for the renovation cost, you said it costs about $20,000
per store, approximately.
and that's based off the square footage of what?
We estimated about 500 square feet per store.
So
Per cafe
Per
area.
cafe, their cafe section, we estimated, obviously some stores have a larger space of their cafe section. We estimated 500 square feet.
So
of
you're
cafe price.
expanding the cafe, renovating, so taking it
We're
out.
taking whatever they have now and renovating, remodeling would be the idea.
So most likely, if you're gonna do the full season of the renovation, you're gonna have to go through, just cut, just tear everything out. Do you think that your expenses are gonna be $20,000 to do the entire section? Or not all the old equipment that you have in there, but maybe just
That's great.
20,000 people.
20,000. What we did was actually quoted a source, and it was $40 per square foot to renovate a retail location. Now for the $20,000 per store, and again, we couldn't actually call Target and get to see how big their cafes were. They said that that information was secretive. So we gave $20,000 per store for the first 5 states. A good number. I mean, if they could reuse some of that to recuperate the cost of it. But
And
that's,
our main idea, I want to touch up on it, make sure everybody's on the same point. We don't want to like just tear everything out and put everything new. We're still going to have our Pizza Hut in there. We just want to make the environment a little bit more welcoming, having a little bit more green around. So we are going to have some smoothie machines that we're going to need to purchase, and that's all taking effect into that renovation cost. So like the pizza makers and everything, that's still going to be there because we still want to have that relationship with Pizza Hut and Starbucks. So we're not going to completely remove that and bring a bunch of new equipments that we would have to purchase.
I think you're saying it's primarily going to be aesthetic. Yes.
Yeah.
From based off the original picture you had on the slide, you want to know the three were the one,
the picture.
Of the
The
renovation.
picture?
The green picture?
The green picture?
That
Oh, yeah.
is the complete.
Oh, that is,
Oh.
Yeah, no.
that would be the, on top of a mountain ideal, but unrealistic. It's a
Yeah.
good representation of what,
Of what a
would be
ideal
like.
will look like.
But that would be several $100,000, I would imagine.
That's the original picture you put in my head by having this slide
Yeah.
one. This
Yeah.
is what I had everything to draw on this presentation. I'm reverting back to the picture. Maybe some feedback. Maybe put the other picture first, which is the Target Cafe. And maybe just changing some of the colors and doing some Photoshop.
Gotcha.
That image first. And it's a much more realistic transition from what you have, what the future should look like.
Mhm.
And starting out with what looks like the brand new like a restaurant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's already that completely transition one direction you guys want to buy.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Where'd you get that?
I just found it online and kind of photoshopped it a little bit to fit what we were looking for. No, that
That
was your
was-
there.
That's very
That's,
lucky.
that's the main reason why we used it. Is because the green bullseye.
Any other questions?
We also have additional charts. I know you guys weren't able to see because we don't have those on the slides. We just left them up in case we had questions. This one basically just shows the profit and cost of each good. To break even, we'll need 155 transactions. We estimated roughly 200. As you can see, if we do 500, how much we expect to get from each profit. We touched up on that as well. And
So would your strategy change with the volume of stores? Because Target comes in seven pops. We have our just general GM stores, we have our merchandise stores, we have our toothbrush stores, which have very small market areas. We have our supermarkets, which have more deli, freezers, much more expanded market. And some of them have a limited space with Target Cafe, and some of them have a little bit more space to seat. Currently, one of the Targets around here, there's no seating area at all for Target Cafe.
And that's one of the problems that we realized with our recommendation. Brittany actually touched up on it.
Yeah,
by
I was
having
saying
this.
with the smaller stores, maybe a little food stand where you can just have like wraps that are kept cold or something like that. That would be more accessible for the small stores. And then for the larger stores, we could do a bigger renovation that would maybe cost a little more but be more appealing to customers in those stores.
And just to go with targets, we actually do sell wraps, sandwiches, like the big fresh every single day, as well as when you come to deli, so you can
cafe would be, we could use those products in the cafe, or even in those stores that do have a deli, maybe not implement the cafe in those stores because they already have something that provides that. Ours is just, we want every store to be healthy in some way, provide healthy options in some way, whether it's the deli that already exists or Cafe Fresh that may not exist yet. So what we're trying to do is just provide a healthy lunch option for customers in every Target store.
Yeah, and just to add on that, sorry, Brittany. It's just that there are some food items at Cafe that the Target Cafe already sells, like pretzels and popcorn and chicken fingers like that. We want to kind of shift that a little bit more and improve upon it to give it more of a feel of a casual, kind of nice, healthy area.
If you try to market to kids and you don't have popcorn and chicken fingers, what is it kids can eat?
Fruit salads, smoothies,
Yeah, smoothies?
fresh food, you know?
That's a wonderful
Yeah,
thing. But
yeah.
that's not what children and 2-year-olds, you gotta give them something.
And that's why we still want to have our pizza. Just give our
Pizza
customers
Hut
that
will still be
choice.
there, so.
One thing I do want to recognize for like is one slice of pizzas. Something I thought is more innovative, having making the brochures and also working with the nutrition education program. I think y'all should really focus a little bit more on that because that is a great idea for creating wellness, including targets and included in all the events. That is a great way to spread wellness and make it accessible for every single person with a required purchase. That's where the target can reach out to the community, help drive the sales of our loyal guests and our customers from using the red cards, ringing the bell. And again, when you come to Target, they have this making meal brochure. If you're a mom, who's got kids coming in, man, I don't know, dinner tonight? Oh, you can take a meal. Already has my dinner planned out for me. Yeah.
Go one better, like Publix where they're colder right there with every one of the ingredients. What have you.
That's kind of where we pull the idea from.
It's just hard for us to touch up on everything that we want to touch up on in 12, 15 minutes that we have. So we throw the ideas in there in case you guys have questions. We have the answers.
Target does donate 5% of our net income
To-
It's $3 million every single week on average.
And that's what we were thinking with this idea. You could send like a representative from Target to schools, kind of talk about eating healthy habits and stuff like that to kind of get those habits instilled at a young age. And that will just, get the wellness thing going from a young age, I guess. So. Sure.
Thank you
Yeah,
guys.
absolutely.